Welcome to this unidentified channel. Welcome to this unidentified channel. Alright, welcome to this unidentified channel. If you haven't noticed, I have quit talking about the name and changing the name. So what I've decided to do is to keep the name as unidentified channel for now. I don't know what the future holds, but that's what we're going to stick to for now. Thank you all for your suggestions. I'm spinning. The main reason that I started this channel is because the people in my life don't know anything about these cases that I'm talking about. They don't keep up with it. Pretty much everybody I know, they just don't. It's a place for me to come and talk about the things that I know, and it gives me somebody to talk to about the things that are going on in these cases. And that's why I am here. Anyway, thanks again for being here. I appreciate you all. Unidentified channel is the name, UIC for short. We are here to talk about these cases with you. Alright guys, let's get into this video. Let's talk about Chad and Lori Daybell. The last video was right before the hearing to disqualify Rob Wood, the prosecutor. So the hearing came. Did you watch the hearing first? Did you watch that hearing? It happened on January 6th and 7th, and it was a 2-day hearing. They went through lots of things. So we went into the courtroom. Actually, it was a Zoom call. We went on to the Zoom call on January the 6th. We had the judge, we had John Pryor, Mark Means, we had Mr. Rob Wood, and we had the attorney representing the state, who was Mr. Troy Evans. The defense, John Pryor, Mark Means, they brought in some expert witnesses. So the first person on the stand was Garrett Smith. Garrett Smith is Zulema Pastenes and Summer Shiflett's attorney. He is out of Arizona. He is the guy that made the recording of Rob Wood talking with Summer Shiflett to get all of this going. Okay, so in his testimony on the witness stand, Arizona is a one-person recording state, and that means that only one person has to know about the recording happening. And since Garrett Smith knew, it was okay for him to make that recording. He recorded the conversation with Rob Wood and Summer Shiflett and went on to record the interview with the investigators who Summer Shiflett was actually there to talk to. After it all went down, he didn't feel real good about the conversation that had happened. He contacted the State Bar of Arizona for some guidance. He then called Mr. Means, Mark Means, and told him about the recording, and then provided the recording to Mr. Mark Means. And that's how we got into the whole, we have a recording of Rob Wood. The next witness that the defense calls is Dr. James Davidson. He said he has a private practice of forensic psychology doing civil, criminal, and family law in various states. Now, he went on to give his expert testimony on best practices and things like that. Then they also called Dr. Samuel Newton, and he is a professor of law. He teaches the law students to go out and be lawyers. So he had never been an expert witness before, but John Pryor asked the judge to allow him and consider him as an expert witness, and the judge agreed to do that. So this was his first expert witness testimony in any kind of trial or hearing. It wasn't a trial, but it was a hearing. But it was a first for him. So the hearing started on the 6th, it went through the 7th, and at the end of the 7th, the judge said he wanted some time to review all of the things presented and to come back with a decision. And they couldn't agree on a Thursday time, so they agreed to come back in the afternoon on Friday, January the 9th. So they came back, and when they, as soon as they came onto the Zoom court hearing, new things had been presented by the state. They wanted, apparently Summer Shiflett had called the prosecutor's office and wanted to testify and give her statements, and it was a little too late for that. So the judge said before they were done with all the evidence, and so now Summer Shiflett wants to come and say something. So the judge heard arguments on that, on why it should, why it shouldn't, and it got a little uncomfortable watching in silence for about a minute and a half, waiting on the state, Rob Wood and his attorney, to come up with a reason, a law, some sort of case number or case that cites something to prove that they can bring this affidavit into evidence now after all of this. And a minute and a half went by. We sat in silence waiting for them to come up with something, and they did come up with something. And it was, John Pryor came back and said that was like that's what you say when you have nothing, like it's the catch-all. So the judge denied letting the affidavit come in from Mindy Gee, who Summer Shiflett actually talked to in the office. So the judge, as soon as they came in, he had to take a recess because of this new information. He had to review it. He didn't know, and neither did the defense. They hadn't reviewed it yet, and it had been submitted at 9 a.m. something that morning, in the 9 o'clock hour that morning. So several hours had passed, but still the defense hadn't seen it. So they took a short recess and went and reviewed everything, and they came back, and the judge was going to let them all do their closing arguments. Everybody had their chance to do their thing. This was it, the final decision, and the judge came back and he couldn't find any case law on this subject in the state of Idaho, so he went outside of the state of Idaho and found something similar in the state of New York. He went through all of the case law about it. The judge used the New York versus Perpona. Now you can look that up if you'd like. But he eventually comes to motion denied to disqualify the prosecutor, Rob Wood. So Rob Wood does get to stay on this case. I am very thankful for that. Please tell me how you feel about Rob Wood staying on this case. The judge went on to say that he would not order Rob Wood to apologize to Mark Means, but would expect them to work it out where we can all be civil going forward, as this is going to take a long time. We still have to go to trial. Everybody needs to get along. Judge Stephen Boyce also said that if Summer Shiflett is going to testify in the trial, there would need to be a pre-trial taint hearing. And so that is going on the record, and that will happen if it comes down to Summer Shiflett testifying. I also want to know from you, do you feel like the conversation that Rob Wood had with Summer Shiflett influenced her in any way? What do you think about that? Did it influence her? I don't want to let you know what I think because I don't want to influence your decision or what you will say about it. So you let me know what you think and we'll discuss it in the comments. The week after we got the motion denied to disqualify the special prosecutor Rob Wood, Justin Lom starts posting all this new information about Alex Cox's death. If you're not following Justin Lum, go follow him, because he is known for getting the documents faster than anyone. So if you want them, go follow him. Alright, so on the 11th of January, Justin Lum obtained the filed police report on Alex Cox's death. We get new details about the situation. So we know on the 12th of December, Alex Cox died. Before that, he went down to Mexico and got some prescription drugs per Zulema. She said on the 7th of December, Alex drove down to Mexico. It was a day trip. He drove down, got some meds, drove back that same day. He was playing with the grandkids later that day, and he seemed to get out of breath. He would not go to the doctor. Zulema apparently wanted to take him a couple of times to an urgent care or walk-in clinic, and Alex would not go. He was fine. So the day he died, he was at their home. Well, first, Zulema says Alex came to live with her just a couple of weeks before he died. I believe it was the day before Thanksgiving. Alright, so per Zulema, Alex arrived at her home on the day before Thanksgiving, which was November 27th. So the welfare check was on November 26th in Rexburg, Idaho. And now Alex has left Rexburg and traveled to Arizona to Zulema's house. And that's where he will stay. He never goes back to Rexburg. So the day before Thanksgiving, he arrived. Zulema didn't want Alex to go back to Rexburg, so she convinced him to stay with her and to live with her and not to go back and live in Rexburg. So that's what was decided. Also, Melanie Boudreau and Ian Pulowski are going to leave Rexburg, Idaho for the holidays and go visit Ian's parents. So Alex got to Zulema's on 11/27, the day before Thanksgiving. Then there was Thanksgiving, and we also know Melanie and Ian Pulowski came down, or Melanie Boudreau and Ian Pulowski came down to Arizona for Thanksgiving to visit with Ian's family. In the incident report, Zulema does say that Melanie Boudreau and Ian Pulowski were there for Thanksgiving. So that was November 28th. On November 29th, we know that they, at least the four of them, Alex and Zulema and Melanie and Ian, all went to Vegas. So they went to Vegas, and Zulema and Alex got married. Zulema described it as a spontaneous eloping. Like, they didn't plan it. It was just something that they did. And then the very next day, on November the 30th, Melanie Boudreau and Ian Pulowski get married in Vegas, with Alex and Zulema being their witness. So now we're on the 30th of November. We know the welfare check was done on the 26th, and then when they went back the next day, the 27th, nobody was there. No Lori, no Chad, no Alex, no Melanie. Remember, Melanie got the call saying her door had been kicked in, and turned out it was the FBI searching, or the Rexburg police, I don't remember which one. But nobody had broken into her apartment. It was the law enforcement doing their job investigating. Could it have been that we know that Chad went to California and spent a few days at some kind of park or fair, some sort of theme park with rides with his kids. We saw the picture of them, and Lori was not in the picture. So do you think that Lori could have been in Vegas with Melanie and Ian and Alex and Zulema when they were getting married. It is very possible that that happened, although it is very possible that it didn't also. So where was Lori from 11/27 to December the 1st? I believe it was somewhere right around the 1st of December when they got on an airplane and did fly to Hawaii. So we know where they were after December the 1st, and we know where they were on November the 26th. And we know Chad was with his kids, and the four, Alex, Zulema, Ian, and Melanie, were all together. Where can we put Lori? I am working on several videos. There are so many that can be made. Which one do you pick? I am working on stuff right now for the Daybell case, the Orrin and Orson West case, and the Evelyn Boswell case. Also, going through Justin Lum's Facebook feed, you will see Joe Ryan's death has been closed. They have closed the investigation. They are ruling it as natural causes. Annie Cushing did have something to say about that. I'll see if I can find that and put it on the screen for you. More documents have been filed by Mark Means. He is claiming that he does not have access to his client while she sits in jail. He wants her to have a cell phone so that they can communicate and it not violate her constitutional rights. Mark Means is also claiming that the state of Idaho sent discovery to Chad Daybell's lawyer, John Pryor, but that discovery never made it to Mark Means. It was never sent to him directly, only to John Pryor. So he has filed some kind of motion on that. Our next court dates coming up on this case are, the first one is February 17th at 9:30 a.m. We will have a Zoom hearing on the motion to compel. The next hearing we'll have will be March 22nd at 9 a.m. and that will be on the motion to dismiss the entire case and change of venue. Now, where do you think it's going to be changed to, or do you think it's going to be changed at all? We'll find out soon, but what do you think? The trial for these two on the conspiracy charges that they currently have about concealment and those charges will go to trial on July the 12th, and there's several weeks blocked off for that trial. Then they have moved the trial for Lori's misdemeanors to after the trial about the conspiracy. The pretrial for that will be August 17th, and the trial will start on August 30th and go that entire week through the 3rd of September. Yeah, through the 3rd of September, and that'll be in Madison County, and that's for Lori's misdemeanors. And hopefully by then we will have even further charges. Murder, maybe conspiracy to murder. We'll find out soon. If you would like for me to read through all of these documents that Justin Lum has posted on this case, like word for word, let me know and I'll make a video on those documents, just reading them so you don't have to. Let me know. If you haven't already, let me know where you're watching from, and I will see you next time. So after 8th, who was Mr. Tony Evans? Right? No. Make sure that's turned up all the way. It does say that, well, anyway, it's been, yeah, okay. Make sure on that. The next witness that the state called was Chad. Right after this hearing, the week, let's scratch that. Okay. Anyway, let's do this. Also, Melanie, let's see. It's been a minute. Tell me a little bit about you. And okay, before we back up. As far as him, as far as I have, let's get into. All right, let me stop this. He said, also Stephen Boyce, also Judge. Out of video. What did it just say? It said something about my memory. I don't know how that works. Did I mess that up? Maybe. Okay, that's good.